What is up, YouTube? HPJ here, and today we are taking a look at my Fusion Festival deck. We are going to talk about the Shaddoll. Shaddoll Dogmatika Invoked was the deck I inspired to build for the Fusion Festival. Didn't realize that at the time the Fusion Festival was going to happen, they had banned a portion of the deck, so I was really stuck for a while. I took some time. Actually, the time of this recording, the day before, I took some time because I was actually um recording stuff for the channel, and I was already at the damn. I'm kind of missing a whole lot of shit, and didn't really have a chance to sit down and actually build like I wanted to. But then I did, and then I streamed it, and you guys can catch me streaming this actually on my Twitch page at twitch.tv/HarpiePlayerJoe. Or you can guys watch the VOD, because the VOD will be going up, because after I finished Sonic Adventure, I ended up playing some Master Duel, and then getting the last bit of gems before the Fusion Festival ended, which I think ends today. I don't have any real plans on going back to it, because I got all the rewards I wanted, I got all the gems. There's no need for the tickets, because the tickets really don't do much. Like, they just give you monsters that aren't really useful. They're just like old nostalgic monsters. And then it's like, oh, I'm going to build, all this stuff. And then I can't dismantle them because I have like 15 of them and I can't use them. So, yeah, thanks, Master Duel. That was such a smart idea. Anyway, we're going to be taking a look at the variation of Shaddoll that I built. And then we're going to take a look at some of the replays as well. So, for my lineup of cards, we'll start off with the Shaddolls. I have 3 copies of Shaddoll Skamata, 2 copies of Shaddoll Wendy, 1 copy of Ariel, 1 copy of Beast, 1 copy of Falco, and 1 copy of Dragon. So that's who I'm missing. I did not have a copy of Hedgehog in this deck. I guess because there was so much shit I had to put into here. That's why he did not end up in the deck. Then I'm running 3 copies of everyone's favorite normal summon, Alistar the Invoker, 1 copy of Destiny Hero Celestial, 1 copy of Destiny Hero Dasher, 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, and 3 copies of Maxine. For the spell cards, of course, the Shaddoll Engine, 2 copies of Shaddoll Fusion, and 3 copies of El Shaddoll Fusion. 2 copies of Invocation with 2 copies of Magical Meltdown, and 2 copies of Fusion Destiny, 2 copies of Super Polymerization. Then for the trap cards, I'm running 3 copies of Paleozoic Dinomiscus, 2 copies of Shaddoll Core, and 1 copy of Shaddoll Schism. For the extra deck, 3 copies of the lovely El Shaddoll Winda, 2 copies of the Boss Monster, El Shaddoll Construct, 1 copy of El Shaddoll Wendigo, 1 copy of El Shaddoll Greista, 1 copy of El Shaddoll Anoilatilis, and 1 copy of El Shaddoll Shiginaga. Then 2 copies of Invoked Mechaba, 1 copy of Invoked Raiden, and then 1 copy of Elder Entity Nest, 1 copy of Mud Dragon of the Swamp, and 1 copy of Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. So that pretty much wraps up all of the monsters in the main, all the cards in the main in the extra deck. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll take a pause so we can go look at all of the duels that associated with this deck. Okay. Alright, you guys, so let's start off with this first match from, I think it was on the stream, actually. There was a whole bunch of duels on the stream, but let's start off with this first match, and it is a pretty decent enough hand. So I go first, and I Alistar the Invoker so that I can go and grab Invocation, and I set a Super Poly. So what I'm intending here, and I forget this, I don't have any legitimate dark monsters in my extra deck. So that was the thing. And then my opponent is playing a white deck, or more so the Skull Servant deck. And that's pretty much just fill your graveyard with Open Source Skull Servant and do some massive shenanigans with the Skull Servant card. So the normal summon is the King of the Skull Servant, and then has like five or six of these already in the graveyard. There's Lady in the White, Skull Servant. There's White Prince, another King of the Skull Servant, and I think a Jet Synchron and another King of the Skull Servant. And I think we passed a yeah, and we have Grenador, the um, Mysterious Dust Kaiju, another Skull Servant. Yeah, this deck was loaded with cards. Takes out the Alistar Invoker, and I get hit with like 15k, 5,000 off the bat. So it's my turn, and I decide to go for the Shaddoll Fusion to go for the lovely El Shaddoll Winda. The reason I went for Winda here is because I don't have a light currently in the deck build at this point in time. So I draw into a couple of these just to see what I can easily do. And I go for Raideen. Now what I should have did was put Winda in attack mode, but I didn't expect Raideen to be accessible for me, and then I forgot, oh yeah, that's right, you can use Invocation's effect to do all these shenanigans. So then I decided to normal summon Alistar again to go get Invocation. And at this point, I just started swinging at the King of the Skull Servant. Now, what was supposed to happen is I think my opponent was supposed to act one of the Skull Servant's effects to summon back the King of the Skull Servant, so that way it'd be easier for them to deal with most of my monsters. So they make a play here to summon the Jet Synchron, which does not help them at all because I'm about to have an entire field full of nothing but powerful battling monsters. So I go for another Shaddoll Winda because why not? And I think at this point I activate Skalmata, I send Falco to the grave, and then forgot I couldn't touch summon Falco because of Winda. But this is pretty much game at this point. Two Windas on the field. I have Raideen to block. And if all out fails, I can just fuse into another monster. So they go for the Kinkabayu, only to remember that, yeah, I still have Raideen on the field. And they suicide into me with the Kinkabayu. And for those who want to know, Kinkabayu is a really old school monster that's level 1 and has the ability to such summon level 1 monsters from your graveyard to the field. But when he bounces back to the hand and then he removes the monster that was attached, that he summoned with his effect. It's a really good card. If you play various decks that use level 1 monsters. I used him in Fortune Lady. I used him in a bit of some cookie cutter chaos stuff as well. It's really amazing monster. So, alright, let's move on from that one. Alright, and now we can go on to this next match. I actually don't remember what most of my matches were because I don't focus too much on them. I should. It should. Considering. So this next match, I open up with 2 Fusion Destinies and just go ahead and go straight for it. Then my opponent Ash Blossoms me, because that's the thing. So I decide to just set the core and set the Shaddoll Schism, just for the fucks of it. So it's my opponent's turn, and I think, is this the opponent that goes for? Oh yeah, it's the Despair deck. God, this one was a long drawn out fight. They go for the High Spirits to go get Albez. Albez to get another copy of himself, and I think they send another monster to the grave. They open with activate Albez's opening. I go for the Max C just to draw into utility because there's no telling what you can easily draw into. And if I did draw into a Shaddoll monster, I at least had support ready for whatever came my way. So my opponent goes ahead, they activate the Tragedy. I go to summon the core to block the attack. They go for the Oberon to put Desperia's Theater of the Brand onto the board. And then it's my turn, and I draw into another Max C. So at this point, I say, fuck it, let's go for another Fusion Destiny. What the worst that could happen? So I Fusion Destiny, and I go into Destiny Hero, Destroyer, Phoenix, Enforcer. Not only reducing the effects, but I'm going to start popping stuff. So I activate my Destiny Heroes effect so I can pop their 3k attacker, and I pop my Shaddoll Schism. Smart move, because I block in some attacks. So I go ahead and I swing with my Destiny Phoenix Destroyer, just so that I know I can at least get something out of the way. So the branded theater starts playing, and then the Desperian tragedy starts doing its shenanigans. They summon the Albrez. Albrez pitches. I go for the Max C because at this point I want to get as much draws as I possibly can from the fusion summons that's going. So my Destiny hero misses his timing because the damn Titaniclad wants to hit the field. So I draw into Ariel. I lose the um, Shaddoll core. So I go for Shaddoll Fusion because I said, fuck it, why not? And I bring out Wendigo. And then I set the Ariel and the Falco and a beast off of all of this. So I get 4 dumps in one. So yeah, my beast gets set in defense mode. I summon my Falco in defense mode, and then for my normal summon, I set the Ariel. So I activate the Celestial to banish itself in the Dasher, and I get a Dinomiscus off the draw. So I need to deal with the Takana Clad, and I also need to deal with all this branded bullshit. So my opponent goes for the MST. I go for the Dinomiscus to get rid of the Titanic Clad. That way I didn't have to deal with the Ash Dragon. I at least know that it was out of the way. So it's out of the way. The MST hits the Dinomiscus, and I go for the branded opening to summon the Disparuch. Um, Wendigo will block the effects of the Jester of the Desperia, so that the Despa. I'm sorry, not Desperia, Despa. Then I go for the Shaddoll Fusion. I fuse my monsters together to form a Noilatellis. Oh, no, I summoned Winda. I'm sorry, not, yeah, I summoned Winda off of this. And my opponent thought that was a smart thing to try to destroy my Winda. And no, they tried to negate my Winda. And I'm like, okay, well, I want to use my Aerial to banish from your graveyard so that you can't do anything with your other cards. So I banished branded openings. My window does get negated, unfortunately, and they do go up for a fusion summon into, I think, their ace monster. I think one of their ace monsters. No, they're going to their ace. This is Quartries. Um, Despin. Quartries. Which is actually a really good card. But I didn't have it, so well, yet. Because I did put in the extra that just as a way to deal with branded for a bit of time. So I go for the Shaddoll Fusion to see what I can do. I activate my Shaddoll Beast. I draw, and then I dump the Shaddoll Fusion. Only because I got a second Dinomiscus, and there goes a Shaddoll Skalmata. So I flip Falco to go get Beast. I believe they're trying to negate my Falco. And so I decide to protect it with Winda. Um, Winda does pay off because the Falco doesn't use his attack, but I summoned the Skalmata, and what I should have did here was I should have clashed Falco into the other monster, even though they both have 0 attack points. It would have been at least an easy clear. So then they go for the Incredible Enclasia, the Virtuous. So Enclasia tries to use her effect. I counter with Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. I try to get rid of the Quartries. I activate Wendigo to block for Skalmata, which I think ends up paying off. Not entirely how I wanted, but yeah, I tried to get rid of the big boy on the field. Unfortunately, that didn't work. But then my opponent went in fused for Masquerade. So that's the thing. So Masquerade swings, and the Virtuous goes back to their hand. So now I'm in panic because I don't know what to do, and I have a branded High Spirits back in the hand. So I'm praying to RNGesus that I draw something. I draw the core, I flip the dragon, no, I flip the beast to discard, and then I go for the super poly to get back the Shaddoll Fusion. So yeah, I'm really trying to just get rid of stuff, and then I realized I should have enough points to deal with my opponent, and I did. I had went into Winda as I expected. I retrieved from the core to get the fusion, and then Falco sets itself. But at that point, my opponent realized there's too many points on the field for me to deal with things. So, yeah, that pretty much is the best I can do for this one. And I'll go back to the deck profile. Alright, so we're back at the visual for the deck. Then we're just gonna go ahead and wrap up the video, but I have to say thank you guys so much for coming and watching. It was very much appreciated. So I can get all my replays, but there are so many of them, and a lot of them are like very, very long replays, and I'm sure people do not want to see those videos unless I'm really going to go into depth on things. But yeah, this was a fun little event with the Fusion Festival. And of course, I'm going to reconstruct my Shaddolls because now I have enough stuff to actually finish it because I just got my instant fusion not too long ago. So yeah, definitely going to be playing Shaddolls to rank up to higher ranks and stuff like that. And I have some other decks and stuff that I'm willing to try out as well. So with that said, thanks every one of you for watching. I really do appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel as it helps me out tremendously. You can hit the notification bell so you guys will be informed of when I do upload more content to the channel. Also, social media links are in the description box below. You guys can hit me up on social media like Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and Discord. You can also follow me on twitch.tv/HarpiePlayerJoe, where I will be doing most of my live streams and more. So, thanks everybody for watching, and I'll catch you awesome people next time. HPJ signing out. Take care.